Well, good afternoon, class. This is your teacher, Professor Dakhir. Well, the very first lecture that we are going to tackle is an introduction to management, or what is management. Well, the lecture is posted on the site, but I'd like to add fewer explanations, examples, and quotations. So I'd like you to check the site uh, for further information and for details. Well, the definition of management is variable. I mean, is varying from an author to another, from a specialist to another, from a theorist to another. There are different definitions to the word management. Some of which are general definitions, other are specialized ones. So I'd like to start with the definition that was suggested by the theorist or the author Edward Francis Leopold Breck in 19 it's a very old definition, but I think it's covering different issues or different facets of the word itself or the term itself. It's in 1953. So he described management as a social process entailing responsibility for the effective and economical planning and regulation of the operations of an enterprise in fulfillment of a given purpose or task. So let's treat this definition and then move to the other definitions. Well, I'd like to delineate the keywords a social process. So what do we mean by a social process? I'd like to explain the word social process. So this refers to some of the general and recurrent ways or forms that interactions take. It refers to forms of social interaction that occur again and again, or that occur in everyday usage. Trading, for example, communication, teaching, learning, transactions, economic transactions, all these are social interactions. Well, so a social process is a social interaction, and it refers to social relations of all sorts and functions. Dynamic social relations of all kinds, whether such relations exist between individual and another individual, or between group and another group, or between group and an individual. So there are various forms of social interactions, cooperation, interactions of cooperation, interactions of conflict, interactions of social differentiation, interactions of integration, competition, and so on and so forth. Well, a social process. So management is a social process. Entailing or meaning, referring, including or involving responsibility for the effective and economical planning. Well, the word effective means, in Arabic it means مؤثر or نافذ المفعول. We may say practical, efficient, functional, fruitful, useful. All these are synonyms to the word effective. So effective and economical planning. Now, the word planning is a key word, and it's the main word in this quotation. So what do we mean by planning? So management is all about planning. To plan or planning is an act or an action of deciding how to do something. So it involves decision making and decision taking. It's an activity of deciding the best way of using labor, of using money, of using different types of resources in order to make a business or an operation or industry successful. Well, now, and regulation of the operations. Here is another key term in the quotation. Regulation, it's derived from the verb to regulate, which means to govern, to direct. So to govern or direct according to rules or according to rule. To bring under the control of authority. Authority means in Arabic sulta. An authority of a manager, the authority of a boss, the authority of a director, the authority of a leader, the authority of a chief person, and so on and so forth. The control of authority of the way something is done or the way people behave. So the control or monitoring, what we say in Arabic, مراقبة, تحكم, قيادة, توجيه, all these are synonyms to the word control. So there is a sense of control, a sense of guidance, a sense of authority, a sense of regulation of the operations of an enterprise. So an enterprise may have different operations or different types of operations. So what are the operations of a business or operations of an enterprise? So they are daily activities or أنشطة يومية and processes a business undertakes. عمليات وأنشطة يومية تقوم بها المؤسسة. To produce goods or services and grow revenue. لإنتاج بضائع وتقديم خدمات. Okay? To grow revenue. Okay? للحصول على الإيرادات أو مصادر دخل أو profits, ربح, etc. So operations include everything from the sourcing of raw materials to the delivery of finished product. So the raw materials class is المواد الخام. Well, so these operations vary depending on the business model, industry, products, services. Such operations are, for instance, sourcing and procurement of raw materials, manufacturing or production, manufacturing, تصنيع, delivery of finished products or services, sales and marketing, المبيعات والتسويق, customer service, خدمة الزبائن. So I'd like to emphasize these words here. Yes. We said regulation of the operations of an enterprise or business. Business operations are different. They vary, we said, depending on the industry, depending on the products, depending on the business model, depending on the services. But such operations may involve the following. I'd like to cite them here. Well, now, manufacturing, or production, Another type, delivery, تسليم, delivery of finished or accomplished products, or services, an S. Sales and marketing, مبيعات والتسويق. sales المبيعات، marketing التسويق. Let's add another one. I should clean all these. I don't have enough space here. Another one, customer service or خدمة الزبائن. So this is an operation that an enterprise may have or a business may have. Okay? So far we've explained a social process. Okay? A social process, which is sum of activities or actions, social interactions that may happen in society between individuals and groups of different sorts or different types. Communication, for instance, I said trading, education, manufacturing, etc. Responsibility for the effective and economical planning. So there is a sense of responsibility here because the manager is responsible for an efficient and effective and successful planning because he is the leader. Planning. The other keyword is planning. We've said that planning is an activity of deciding the best way of using labor or using resources or using money in order to make a business or industry successful. It's an act of decision making and decision taking. Now, regulation is another key term or keyword in the quotation. To regulate means to govern or direct or according to rules, which means to bring under the control of authority, under the control of a leader, under the control of a director, the control of authority, the way something is done or the way people behave. There is a sense of guidance, a sense of giving instructions, a sense of leadership. Now, the operations of an enterprise or the operations of a business. So there are different types of operations. Firstly, the word operations means daily activities or processes an enterprise undertakes to produce goods or services and grow revenue. So a sum of activities that a business may have in order to produce goods, إنتاج البضائع, or services أو تقديم خدمات للحصول على إيرادات أو مصادر الدخل. Those operations include everything from the sourcing of raw materials to the delivery of finished product. So these operations vary depending upon the industry or the business or maybe the products the business model that we have. In fulfillment of a given purpose or task, all these actions or these processes are happening or fulfilled in order to achieve a given purpose or task. So there are different objectives of management: long-term objectives and long-term objectives and short-term objectives or middle-term objectives, right? So it depends on the business model again. Now, let's move to the second definition of management given by Kuntz in 1914. In his book, Towards a Unified Theory of Management, the author argued that management was the art. It's an art of getting things done. So management is an art. It's not only a process like what we see or what we have just seen in the first definition. It's an art, fun, of getting things done. Through what? Through and with people in formally organized groups. So there is a sense of a group or a teamwork and a sense of organization. So the aim of management is to get things done through and with people, either between individuals or individuals, an individual and a group, or a group and another group, in formally organized groups. It's not happening in a random way or in haphazard, but it is an organized mechanism or organized activity. More recent definitions may include the following. Management is the organ of society, specifically charged with making resources productive. So the organ of society, here is a key word. In Arabic it means جهاز المجتمع أو العضو الأساسي للمجتمع, specifically charged with, مسؤول على, making resources productive. Okay? لتحويل الموارد إلى أو جعل الموارد إنتاجية, productive or fruitful. Well, let's focus on the word resources. موارد. So different types of resources. There are generally three types or three forms of resources. Natural resources, we may have human resources, الموارد البشرية, or this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, or capital resources. Okay, capital resources. Well, for natural resources, they are all the materials and substances such as minerals, land, forests, water, fertile land that occur in nature and can be used for economic gain. All materials, I mean المواد أو الماديات, substances, المواد such as minerals, المعادن, الغابات, الأرض الخصبة, المياه that occur in nature. يعني هذه الموارد طبيعية, natural resources we may find in nature and can be used for economic gain. Now, human resources. Well, human resources, الموارد البشرية, they are people working to make goods or provide services like teachers, for instance, doctors, builders, dentists, artists, and so on and so forth. So human resources, they are people, human beings. They are working to provide services or to make goods. Now, capital resources, that are things. Capital resources, that are things that people use or utilize to do their jobs. For example, a dentist is in need of different materials and different tools in order to perform his job, his profession. A doctor is in need of different tools as well. Teachers are in need of computers, whiteboards, markers, books, the nets, and so on and so forth. Builders, they are in need of cement, paint, different tools in order to accomplish their jobs or their works. Capital like computers, vehicles, means of transport, and so on and so forth. Another definition, I think this is a simplest definition done by Drucker 1954. Management is deciding what should be done and then getting other people to do it. It's a decision-making activity and the decision-taking activity. Okay? They are involved or included in the process of planning. Stewart 1999 said that management is fundamental to the effective operation of work organization. He said that management is essential, is important, is very fundamental to the effective operation of work organizations. It's the key essential activity for efficient operations or businesses. Having said all these definitions, let's move to Mullins 2002, who said that there is a common thread that links these views. 3 important points should be kept in mind. 1. Management involves making plans, so it's planning, and decisions, so it's about making and taking decisions about the future needs of the business. When I say future needs, it means there are a set of objectives that should be reached or should be achieved. 2. Management is about making cost-effective use of resources through efficient organization and control. So there is a process of organization and control or monitoring. 3. Management is about getting the best out of people to achieve objectives. Getting the best out of people to achieve what? To achieve objectives. Different words or different activities may be derived from the word management. So, firstly, there is a sense of planning. Now, it's about making and taking decisions. It's a sense of organization or regulation or control, guidance, توجيه, guidance. A leader who guides gives instructions. Do that and do not do that. Okay? Orders, directives. It's about achieving goals or objectives. It's about cost-effective use of resources. Okay. Well, this is it. This is all what we have as our first lesson. The second lesson will be about the role of a manager. Have a nice evening. See you next time, inshallah.